Do you want to know how to control your freeze response? Are you trying to control or move out of that freeze state that has you paralyzed and unable to act? I have a few techniques you can use to get moving again. And stick around so I can tell you a story of how I dealt with this in college when I was trying to learn how to date again. So, if you are that person in that freeze state, I want you first to recognize your emotional state and explore the reasons that you feel this way. How does this freeze emotion, it's coming from fear, show up in your body? Where do you feel it? What are the reasons that you're feeling this way? What are you responding to? Are the feelings that you have valid and worth listening to? Is this a situation where you need to just stop and hide? Or is this a situation where you need to act? Figure that out. When you figure that out, that opens the door for you to do other things. And then you can remember, after you figure that out, that you are brave. There are places in your life where you act with great courage. I guarantee it. Everyone has them. Find that space within you. Take that courage that you have in that space to act with impunity and move with confidence no matter what, and put the template of that on the place of fear that you reside in at this moment. And when you place that template of bravery upon your place of fear, you can see a pathway of how to move and break this chain of freezing that's within you, because you know what it's like in another place to be brave and act boldly without freezing up. So whatever that may be for you, figure it out. Place it upon this moment where you are frozen with fear, and then see what that path is for you, because you'll know this is valid or this is not valid. How is this showing up? And you can really kind of process that. If you've done that, then give yourself an incentive of reward for acting on this space of fear. If you feel like you are no longer being served by freezing, give yourself an incentive to move. How do you do this? You find some accountability partners and you say, you know what? I'm having trouble. I'm scared to do this. I feel like it's going to be embarrassing, or it's going to cause me shame, or it's going to fail, and I don't want to deal with that. So I'm frozen and not acting. But if I do that, this is what I'm going to reward myself with. And can you guys kind of like help me with that? Get a partner involved to get yourself moving. So the final step, once you've got those partners and all that process down, take action. Movement shatters freeze state. The sooner you can break and get moving, if this is a simple thing for you, it's like you got a momentary check, whoa, you freeze, and then you just move and you can keep going, you're fine. You've moved through the freeze state. Taking action, if you can go right to it, is the best way to break through freeze state. But sometimes you have to process all that you're carrying in order to get to a place where you can emotionally move. So, if you are in that space, take action after you've processed it all, and it'll change everything. And I'll tell you what happened to me. It was a unique experience for me. I went to Japan. I served a mission for my church when I was a kid. And I went out to Japan, and it was a cool experience. I got to experience the culture, learn the language, see things that I just never imagined I could see at such a young age. And immersing myself in a culture that was so different from everything I had experienced to that point in my life. It was fun. And also, it was kind of monkish. I wasn't allowed to associate with any women while I was on my mission. I was 19 years old. There's lots of beautiful women that were interested in me in Japan. And as a rule for the church that I was serving, we weren't allowed to interact or date or do anything with women while we were on a mission. So I returned home at 21, having spent 2 years without any significant contact with women at all. In college, dating again, and feeling woefully inadequate to meet the social requirements of knowing if a girl was into me or not. It terrified me. If I was on a date and a girl would reach out and laughing, hit my leg or my arm, I'd freeze and I'd think, does she like me? Is that a sign that she likes me? Oh my gosh, what do I do? I would just freeze up. It was a disaster. I was awkward. It was embarrassing. Any date I went on, I would come home and just feel like, oh my gosh, That was so brutally awkward. That poor girl. She was stuck with me all night, giving one-word answers to the questions that she would come up with to just try to get me to converse with her because I was so caught in my fear. And I don't think this is very uncommon for people in social situations. I think a lot of people go through this. And your mind just like congeals and you can't even think of anything to say. You can't engage with this person. You're just sitting there thinking, holy crap, I'm on a date with this person, right? And that's where I was. I was in that space. It wasn't going well for me. I wanted to get out of it, and I didn't know how. And I talked to my friends. I knew that it wasn't serving me. I talked to my buddies, my roommates about it. They were good friends of mine, and we built a competition. I had a friend who had broken up with a girl recently, and he was kind of in dire straits, bummed, not able to move on because he had really liked her. And I was unable to engage with any girls at all in any significant way because I was terrified. So we made a bet. Who could kiss a girl first was the bet. And the winner would get $10. For me, this was what? 1991. For me in 1991, I'd do almost anything for $10. And so this seemed like a plan. And it got me so focused on winning the $10, so focused on beating my friend, that the fear that I had of rejection from a woman for making a mistake, misreading a cue, whatever, disappeared. I didn't care because I wanted to beat my friend. I had found something to motivate myself. I had examined the fact that this was not helping me. I needed to transition my frozen fear into action. I needed to be courageous. And the bet, the action there, changed me into a competitive space like in sports. And I was able to easily lay my template of bravery where I am in sports onto this emotionally terrifying dating space where I was scared to move and act. And I did take action. I began with a vengeance to ask girls out with the sole purpose of seeing if I could kiss them by the end of the date. And I won the $10. I will say that. I broke my free state. I shattered it with movement. And as I took action and I began to do this, I realized, oh, if I'm normal, if I'm good, if I'm just myself, these women are cool too. They're normal. They're good. They're just themselves. It's easy to see the connection. It's easy to recognize she likes me because I'm not so obsessed with wondering and frozen in fear and unable to see the signals. I am simply engaged in trying to win a fight and saying, hey, or not a fight. I'm trying to win a competition, but I am honestly engaged in looking at this person in front of me because the fear of it has transitioned to excitement. When you go from fear to excitement, it engages your prefrontal cortex. It gets you out of reactionary movements. It allows you to see what's truly going on, to feel the emotional state of the person across you, and to flow. And so I began to realize, oh, this is a flow state. I can do this if I just take action. And it got to a point where I felt totally confident, totally comfortable, and had no problems interacting with girls like a normal human on a date instead of being frozen with fear. So if this is you, if you're frozen in some space in your life, whether that be dating, whether that be at work, whether that be at school, whether that be anything at all, the abuse that you're facing at home, I would say follow these steps. Find a way to make freeze state serve you when it needs to and learn how to break out of it when it no longer does, because it changes everything. You just got to get to action. So just to add on, that fear that I had, that total incapacity I had to act and ask girls out was very debilitating to me. And I have been on that end of the stick where I felt like there was no way I could ask a girl out that I liked. It was too terrifying. I didn't want to face the rejection of it. All of the things that come into your mind with that were all a part of me. And I was so amazed at my friend's ability to just brazenly walk up to any girl and talk to them. But as I took action through this process of trying to win $10 to get a kiss and the iterations of, I did get rejected. There were a couple times where I was out with a girl and I was still awkward in taking the action. So then my fear ignited as I started to try to move toward a kiss with the girl, and it would fail because that awkwardness shatters the moment. And so I recognize that, but just the taking of the action and moving through that stage eroded all that for me. Now I am back in the dating world, much to my chagrin, but it's not bad because I have no fear. I will ask anybody out that I want to. I literally don't care at all. And I do have men come up to me all the time and say, how do you do it? How can you just walk in and talk to these women and just, like, it's like they love you because, you just don't even care. And it isn't that they love me. It's that they love the ability to meet another person that is not coming to them in a state of terror, needing them to soothe them. I'm providing them a space of excitement, adventure, no fear in it. We're cool. You don't have to like me, but if we have a connection, cool. We'll see where it goes. Isn't that an easier mentality to kind of move through and see that situation working to your benefit? It works for me. It makes it really easy. I'm no player at all, but if I like a girl, I can talk to her. I can engage with her. I can discover whether or not she likes me. All of these are good things that I get from not being frozen. And it allows me then to meet people where when I was frozen with fear, I met no one. So if this is you, implement it in your life, I promise your free state, when you learn how to break it, it is so nice to be able to act and move with excitement over fear. I'm James. This is how I do it.